Sit up straight. Shoulders back, shoulders down. Okay, so there's two directions the body, mind, breath works. Two ways. One is outgoing, one is ingoing. That's true of the breath, certainly. It's also true of the kind of use of the limbs. You're either handing something or receiving something, outgoing, ingoing. The legs, you're either standing up and outgoing through the legs, or walking, moving outwardly across the earth, or you're seated and folded in. The nervous system reaches out to sense, and also it receives that information, brings it in. It expresses the thoughts of the mind outwardly, and it listens and receives the thoughts of others. So release those limbs, release that outward action away from the spine, away from the mind. Use the exhalation to connect, settle, release, let go. Use the inhalation to observe the inward draw and the landing place, so to speak, of that inward movement. Very little of that inward energy goes to the brain directly. Most of it goes to the center of the chest. Join your palms in front of the sternum and observe this outgoing, ingoing. So the energy of mind descends to the center of the chest. Very little of that inhaled, rising up energy goes to the brain. Most of it fills the chest. That's how it should be. The brain stays quiet and descending. So with that center of the chest being felt, and in fact the vastness of the space in that interior, in this way, pay homage to this practice and to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow your head to that vastness. And release your hands, raise your head, and open your eyes. Now, stretch your legs. And push down with the arms. Expand the ribs. There's that outgoing energy out the arms, out the legs, away from the head, away from the spine. And then from those grounding and stretching legs, grounding arms, there's an incoming structural lift that comes up into this chest. Do it without hardening that space there. Do it to expand the diaphragm. The diaphragm is free to move in all directions. Don't limit that diaphragm. Are you able to remove your hands? Take them all the way up. Keep the diaphragm stretching. The energy moves away from the spine, away from the skull. If it is necessary for some of you to lift the chin slightly, to keep that sense of openness so that the energy of the brain can stay quiet, even in such a shape, change the angle of the head on the throat to adjust that feeling. Stretch your arms, stretch your elbows. Try to make your left arm and side longer. Your left wrist is below the right wrist. It's getting close to even now. Reach up that left, yes. Make the left side match the right. Okay, and be there for a few seconds so your body gets to have several encounters with that length and breath and breath. Exhale, come out. All right. Length, breadth, that has the D word, B-R-E-A-D-T-H, and breath, B-R-E-A-T-H. Length, breadth, and breath. Okay. Now stand up and be in Tadasana. And you know, we're going to go through some shoulder work, arm and shoulder, and it's going to, of course, have a relationship to your rib cage, this trunk, this diaphragm, and this interior vastness. So let me say one thing about that vastness. To some degree, your chest is very expandable. It's a very mobile thing if you let it be. As we get older, the rib cage gets stiffer. So, as bones and joints become less elastic, so does the rib cage. So you want to maintain an effort to preserve elasticity. Stay hydrated and practice your yoga and keep interior space. Okay, so that's one thing. But then there is the psychological aspect of what's going on here. Being in Tadasana, no strap just yet, and stretching the arms, the legs could be joined or apart. Just look at that mechanical structural space you have. is your diaphragm free to expand? Right? Compare it to Urdhva Hastasana. How free is the diaphragm there? Do you understand the difference in the pattern of breathing, the expansiveness? Take the arms back down to the sides and see if you can keep that same expansiveness, that length and breadth with a D and breadth with, prana. Okay. Without pushing or shoving. Okay. Now, hands behind the back, on the hips, with your thumbs against the hips and fingers around the sides, standing straight. I'm not saying squeeze the elbows together, nor am I saying stretch them away from each other. Your prime directive is to take this whole humerus bone from shoulder to elbow back. After you get that, lift up through the ribs and reinforce. Start going after that sense of remobilizing the diaphragm. Because it happens, you shove your elbows back, your diaphragm shoves forward. Length, breadth, breath. Relax. Okay, so begin Gomukhasana. Left arm is the lower arm at first. And you maneuver as best you can. And then use this arm to free that diaphragm. Use this arm, this shoulder, to let go enough to recover the diaphragm on the left side. And now you come down toward your version of Gomukhasana from the point of view, not of your shoulder joint, but of that central vastness. And then release, come out. Stretch the arms carefully. And side two. So I guess I have to turn around. So you take the path that gives you space, release, letting go across this back and front. So it's a continuous spreading away from the skull, away from the spine. The other arm comes up. Now you stand on those legs and lengthen the trunk up and use width, length, breadth, and breath. And then you come down to your Gomukhasana. Strap, no strap. Can everybody turn so I see a side? It completely doesn't matter to me if your hands clasp. Pressing the back, reaching that top elbow up, whether the hands clasp or not. Find the balance of the ribs and the interior space. That's good, Chaya. Elbow up, armpit open, top rib stretching, and come out. So I'm really drawing your attention to what's going on in this sector, mainly as a way of keeping you from what is typically the focus, this shoulder socket and its vulnerability. So I'm trying to get you much more aware of, and because, you know, when this starts pinching, there's no breath on this side of the diaphragm. There's no mobility, right? When this shoulder goes, there's no mobility. These two go together. And this is more the root of it. So lift from these ribs. All right. Take Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now go carefully. You've got arms. One of them has done some opposing thing. And remember, this stretches away from the skull, away from the spine. So keep the energy returning to feed the spaciousness of the chest and ribs. Don't puff your brain. Puff the length and breadth across that middle. And keep that pathway at the neck and throat and base of the skull. Keep it open so that very little, just the thinnest thread, goes to the brain. That's all you need. Most of it goes to that middle. Now stretch your legs back, heels back, shins back, thighs back, hips back, buttock bones back. Lengthen the pelvis to abdomen. See the effect of that across the diaphragm and across the middle space. And if you're really getting the dog pose, you start noticing that there is, in fact, a sense not just of that structural space, but of just space itself. Come out. Okay. So get a chair. And if your knees need padding for kneeling on the floor, then get an extra blanket or whatever you might need for that. Otherwise, you're just kneeling in front of the chair, more or less vertical thighs. And the chair is close to your hips. And those shins stretch back. And your hands come to the chair. And also your back pelvis, buttocks, whatever height you are, whatever that is, comes up against the chair. For me, it's pretty much tailbone level, right in the neighborhood. Okay, so stretch your shins, stretch your thighs away from the spine, away from the skull, out toward the foot. Let that thorough extension give you some free lift in these ribs. Now, hands back instead of on your hips are on the chair seat. Move those shoulders back. Here's what's new. Let your head come forward so long as it keeps that brain quiet and the chest lifting and the spaciousness coming. Then the arms reach back straight. Pull the chair apart with your fingers and thumbs and lift your chest. If possible, reach your hands up to the top of the chair. Lift your chest. Stretch your arms. Try not to put the palms face down on the top of the chair. Gay, move the wrists outward. Try to pull the sides of the chair apart. You're doing this because the reflection back into the chest expands it. And then not palms face up.
How do the palms
So
face?
you want the palm to face the chair and hold on to it. And then pull the chair apart. Outward, pull the chair outward. And from that connected outward pull, which expands the chest, reach the arm back. Now, rest for a second, and I will show a thing. Most of you, I will say, are in, if you see this, the hips are back and the chest is forward, like this. I want you much more like this. Okay. So this hip socket comes forward and the spine sort of opens into a much more even curve back to that top chair. Stretch your toes back and use that backward stretch to get the hamstrings to come forward. Hip sockets forward. Lift those ribs up. The hands can come lower down on the chair if the shoulder is locked, but move those hips and connect that front pelvis. Gay. Lift the pubis, lift the navel, get the hips away from the chair, do a back bend. And if the chair moves, it's because you're pulling it. Push the chair and move the hips forward. Child, watch those shoulders. Get your shoulder blades down the back. There is in your anatomy that I'm looking at, there is a, do you see how my shirt wrinkles are moving? I want your shirt wrinkles to open up. Do you see how it's like the shirt fits? Yes, you took your hands down. That changed it. Is that true? That is true. Now your hands can come higher up the chair, I'm sure, but not as high as before, because that chest still, that your shirt wrinkles have to, oh, good, Gay. Now make your pants wrinkles open in the front hip and give yourself pants wrinkles from the buttock to the hamstring. Stretch your feet. Good. Keep the neck throat open so your brain does not get clogged. No clogging brain. Come out. Have a rest. That was good. There were improvements. And again, if you do this without this sense of the underlying space in this interior here, and whatever you're doing should be able to translate into like an easier time coming into this place and breathing and staying happy. So if that's the case, it's not going to lodge in the shoulder. Don't let it get stuck in the shoulder. Now, chair, you need a wall And what I'm going to do is, sort my bricks. I'm going to move a sticky mat so I have a bare floor to slide my chair around on. And if you don't have a bare floor to slide your chair, you just have to calculate a little more carefully because it's hard to move the chair. So I'm going to show one thing to do. And I might show more. This might be really sort of a lot of use right where it is. Oh, and I'm going to get two matching bricks. I should say this. Anybody who bought props from Castle Hill, if when you bought props, you bought some of these extra heavy, super heavy aromatic cedar bricks as opposed to the lighter weight, some mountain cedar, different cedar. If you had one of these to spare, I would purchase it because I only somehow wound up with one of these. I don't know why, but I would love a partner for it and I will purchase it. End of request. Now, here's what you do. You go over it in back bend shape, tucking your shoulder blades, supporting the sacrum, so that this interior space, especially the diaphragm, and the diaphragm region goes from right at the base of the sternum on down to the almost your pelvis. This whole section from navel to sternum, right, is the source of that vastness. So you support the head, keep the brain quiet, and it's this opening that lets that chest come down. Then you can put your hands to the wall and you can bring your heels right up to the chair. In this position, the chair is braced. It can't really go anywhere. So you can push the wall with the hands to move your shoulders to the chair and raise the hips. And as you push those shoulders toward the chair, the chair's not going anywhere and the hips can come up. So you don't push the elbows to the wall, pull them back so the shoulder blades are pushing the chair. And you do this 10 times. Take your hands, don't have to come up. Take your hands lower. Vidya, you too, hands lower, get closer to the wall. My illustration showed my head closer to the wall. Vidya, that's better, Karen. So let your elbows bend up, Vidya. Almost like you're working toward headstand. Keep your that's it. Keep your elbows in. That's better, Vidya. That's good. Now heels to the chair so the chair is stable, and practice these little, you might call them chest push-ups. Even though your hips stabilize, they might rise up first, but that push of the shoulder against the chair expands the space in the chest. So you do it, keep it, release it, do it again, reorganize, see if you can coil a little bit better. Okay. And if the coiling is coming, Karen, the hands may go lower. Okay. If the chest opens, get close to the wall, gay, so those elbows can stay bent. Now, please come up, everybody. Release from this, hands to the chair. Inhaling, sit up. Sit up straight. Oh, and if any irritation came into the back, you sit straight. Keep those shoulders, from the shoulders to the hips, in line. And let your head come forward. Buttocks down, head forward. And study the connectivity of breath. Don't throw any more back bend into the pose, but don't throw a forward bend in either. Only the head comes forward. Now, raise your head and then tell me, was this difficult? Yes, no. Okay, was this helpful, nice, exhilarating? Do you want to, was it good enough to try to go a little farther?
Devon, is the point not, are we not supposed to be raising the shoulders off the chair? We're just
not at that time, just pushing into the chair. I'll show, because this translates into the next pose.
Okay,
so the distinction is important. So watch this. What we did, see how close I am to the wall? I'm pretty close. Okay. Pretty close. And it's nice to be square to the wall. Okay. Support the head, elbows in. Chest is coiling. Do you see it? Yeah. My head, I can even come a little further away. My head and neck are staying soft, but look how that shoulder is going. Okay. Right. So then my head hangs and my hands get somewhere on the wall. See that angle. Okay. My elbows are approaching shoulder width and my hands are shoulder width. So look, this is where we were, pushing with the feet, pushing with the shoulders to the chair. Do you see how my elbows get away from the wall?
Yes.
Okay, now look closer and see what the rib cage is doing.
Yes.
See how the rib cage opens and turns, right?
There.
Now, to get to Urdhva Dhanurasana, you're going to do chest push-ups that are based on that. Watch. Same starting place. Now, your hands could go lower. They could go to bricks. They could. I'm just going to get these out of the way and go toward the floor. Now, I slid a little more off the chair, and that is fine. So what I'm going to do, you see my heels are still braced. So right. I'm going to do chest push-ups. So what's happening is my shoulders come to the chair, chest rolls, and I lift. Now I've got to lift. I'm not saying straighten your elbows and take the whole pose. I'm saying do chest push-ups.
And the power is coming from your arms, right? Not your feet, not your legs.
It's actually coming from your arms into those shoulder blades.
Okay.
And into that chest, right?
Right.
The outgoing energy of the arms comes back in. It is the strength of the arms, but it's the strength of the shoulder blades. That's your arm too. Go. That shoulder blade moving toward the chair is that shoulder blade tightening, becoming firm. Okay. Push your heels to the floor, Karen, if you can. Feet flat, hips up. Take your elbows away from the wall to the chair, not away from each other, away from the wall to the chair. So those shoulder blade muscles strengthen into the back, opening the chest. And if that's coming, push up with the arms a few inches straight up, rolling the chest open, taking the weight on the arms. And if you need to adjust your distance from the wall, Vidya, to be able to get your elbows in position, travel a bit further away from the wall and see if those elbows come in right to make you happier there. I'm not declaring you should push up into Urdhva Dhanurasana, but you need to understand how to engage that shoulder blade against the back ribs to help reinforce that, not pinch off any part of the interior. This is a way to preserve and increase your awareness of the vastness. Okay, so come out again. And you get another one of those sit up straight moments, and maybe take your head down. Okay, make sure the arms can release, right? The muscle and the nerve, muscle and nerve of leg, muscle and nerve of spine. Like the unseen force is kind of smoothing down, you know, like the furry animal of some sort you probably were at some point in your evolutionary past. Even a lot of humans keep this fur on their back. Smooth your fur, smooth your pelt. And then release and come out. We're going to do twists and forward bends, and hips are sort of all rolled together. So as you come out of the chair, if you move the sticky mat out of the way like I did, then move it back and get yourself set up for some seated poses with blankets, with a chair, with whatever props are suitable. Bolster, belt. Okay. So you can sit flat on the floor or on blankets. Take the feet about hip width apart, and then bend the right knee as you would for Janu Shirshasana. Do protect your knee, and tuck the heel in close to the groin. And you all know this basic rule that when the hip is stiff, this heel is going to go toward the opposite leg groin, just because this hip isn't so open. When this groin opens without the abdomen moving, you can put the heel in its own groin. This creates more interior space. So having done that, see if you can release space on the straight leg side. So a way to do that is to either catch your foot or catch a strap around your foot. And you understand your motive here is to make interior space. So opposite hand goes to foot chaya. Opposite hand to, so my left leg is straight, my right knee is bent. It's actually not true. Your left leg should be straight. Your right leg should be bent. Your right hand should catch your straight left foot or a strap around that foot. Stretch the legs. Highly asymmetrical pose in the pelvis. So just keep coming up in length and set those thighs, legs down, that outward extension and grounding, and lift up. Catch with two hands. And once you catch with two hands, this diaphragm zone starts being able to even out. Do you notice that? Catch with two hands, and not necessarily the pelvis down here, but up here starts to even out. Starts to even out. Come out. Stretch both legs. Feet about hip width. Don't go wide. Feet about hip width. Stretch that first knee. Don't neglect it if it's sore in any way. Take a moment to see that it is clear. Then bend your left knee. Now, the right leg is not exactly going straight forward. It's a little bit wide of center, not a lot. Okay? But this hip, the bent leg hip, has to be open and the heel tucking. So this is a way of evening out in the pelvis. So is this. It's just different. Use those legs. Push through this thigh. Stretch through this shin. Lift your trunk up. Create height. Create breadth with the D. Cross the base of the ribs. Keep connecting to the breath. Then now it's your bent leg, arm crosses to the straight leg foot or takes a strap. Push down through that knee, lift up for length, for height. And if the avenue up through the trunk to make height is clogged, you get a strap. Now you catch with two hands and keep lifting. And you feel, I hope you feel, how those two sides of the rib cage start evening out. Maybe not exactly, but they get much more even when you use those two arms. The potential is there. Use your breath, use that breadth, use that length. Come on, back out slowly. Now, we will go forward this next time. Then the right leg, being as careful as before. And I'm just going to say, if this leg goes wide, when you bend over it, you will be much more limited in that evenness. Keep your leg pretty close to forward, Chaya. Keep your straight leg forward. And just open the bent leg hip. Now is the time, if you're going to need it, for you to fold a blanket or two or get a bolster, you know where your head is going to land. So this is kind of interesting. If I give myself, I'm sort of flexible. So something I do is I put bricks on either side of this leg. Wait till you see. Okay. So I do the regular pose and I do what we did earlier, catch with two hands. And as I come forward, my elbows can rest on bricks. And I can turn and adjust those ribs. And then when it's time to put my head down, I could fit it on a blanket in between those bricks. And if you won't go down that far, you just get a chair and keep your elbows lifted and spreading. Elbows lifted and spreading, not to pinch the shoulders and crimp the neck, but to spread. Now, Karen, you're so close to catching your foot. Head down. That's right. Get close to the foot, then spread your elbows. Yes. Keep the head supported, Vidya. Yeah. Keep the legs stretching. There's an outgoing energy through the arms, through the legs, away from the skull, away from the spine. There is an incoming feedback that keeps the brain quiet and the chest open, breath open. In the very same way, in your mind, you can imagine the solar system, which is to say a space incredibly more vast than your brain. And yet your brain can contain it, right? The vastness that is in the mind. Okay, come up, change sides. Stretch both legs. Karen, use a chair when sitting high on blankets. Take your head forward to the chair. You won't get that crimpiness in the front hip. The support under the head should be as high or higher as needed than the hips. Now sit further back on the chair, Karen, on the blankets. That's it. So you feel that thigh pressing down on blanket. Yes, press that thigh, both thighs. Catch the chair with, or foot with opposite hand first. This makes you much more aware of the adjustments, legs, thighs, pelvis. When you catch with two hands, the adjustment comes higher up into the diaphragm chest. Now you got your foot, Karen. That's cool. Come up to the chair, leave your head on the chair, take your hands on top of the chair. Leave your head, take the hands. Now, widen those elbows. Reach the elbows, do whatever you need to with your hands. Some of you could move the hands forward to the back of the chair seat and just reach your elbows away from each other. Palms down, chair seat. Inside the chair legs, palms down on the chair seat. On top of the chair, Karen, walk your hands forward. Walk your hands forward. Now, keep your hands on the chair seat and spread your elbows. Yes. Reach those side ribs forward. You feel, spread the diaphragm. And if more forward bend comes, just push the chair forward, right? More space comes, move into it. So personally, I like this better, Karen. I don't know if you do, but it looks longer in the trunk, more ease of breath. Okay, so in the very same way, the brain can encompass the mind, not the brain, but the mind as a function inside that brain structure, can contain vastness in the very same way. The mind contained in the structure of the chest can contain vastness. It's different. You don't, think of the Milky Way. You don't imagine the Milky Way with your chest. But you sense space, sense vastness. If the pose works, come out. Now, a strap, a floor. If you want a blanket for your head, that's optional. Okay. In classical terms, you don't need that. You should be in a straight line. You only support that neck if there's something in the nervous system that says, quiet down. So if you need to cool it down, look. Then you cool it down. This is about this width. Okay. So actually, I should probably turn in the other direction. Okay, and I'm also not going to use a pillow. Can you see me? Yes. Okay. So watch, knees bent at first. And the purpose of that is to just really relax and spread this trunk. Then the leg comes up like Supta Padangusthasana. The other leg can stretch straight. Now you spread laterally. Then this foot comes in. Watch, I'm still spreading. That knee's going that way as much as possible. Even as this foot is starting to come this way, it's like the elbows and the knee are spreading sideways, sideways, lateral. Do you see all this lateral? So even if you cross your elbow behind your head, don't fold up, spread. Take that pose. Karen, left hand to the right foot. Watch. Stay close to that foot. The leg goes to the side. Don't lengthen your strap. Bring your foot in. Hold it with the opposite hand. Then spread your elbows. Stretch your shin. Pull your right knee to the right. Left elbow to the left. Right elbow, right. Hold your heel. Hold, yes. Hold the strap around your foot. Stay close to your, it's the right hand, chaya, that goes behind your head. You don't change your grip on the strap. You don't change your grip. Nothing changes. Don't clasp, change clasp. Take that elbow over your head, chaya. That elbow goes, oh, that head goes in between your forearm and your shin. Yes. That was it. No. Yes. And spread the elbows. Come out. Come out. Release. Rest there for a second. Now roll to your side. Come up sitting. Watch again. So this is my left leg. Next pose is going to be your left leg. Can you see my head? Can you see it? Yes, that's my head. You can see it. So you can see everything my arms are doing and what this strap is doing.
Yes.
So this leg is straight. Look at how much room I've given myself on that strap. It doesn't change. Leg goes to the side, maybe my elbow bends. That grip does not change. Then the knee bends, staying out as much as it can. It's the foot that's coming in, not the elbow, not the knee. And this hand with the elbow bent catches that foot, and look, this hand goes this way, this hand goes this way, and they engage. It's like pulling the chair apart. Then To get this elbow behind the head, nothing changes. You just fit your head in between your forearm and your shin, and then keep spreading. See it? Do it.
Yes.
Please do. That hand does not change. Once you get that foot-long loop, hang on to it. Don't change a thing in your grip. So, Vidya, if that strap is in between your foot and your grip, it can change. Open up your strap and hold both sides of the strap. Good, Karen, you got it. Now spread, that's all. Both elbows, pull on that foot with your right and pull on it with your left and stretch. Elbows, knees. So you let out lots of slack, Gay, on that belt. You didn't keep the 1 foot length. So your elbow is way out here, right? I want your elbow behind your skull if possible. There you go. Now catch your foot, right hand. Pull the heel, not the toe. And spread the ribs, spread the shoulders, spread the throat. And then release and come out. Spread, spread, spread. Okay. Are you okay? Look, if it was trouble on the neck, it's huge. That is not a difficult thing to adjust for. You don't, you just, that's something that is not difficult to adjust for. Don't suffer in your neck because the belt is funny. Okay, coming out of that, 504. You want to do one last, I'll show this way, kind of spreading thing. If you see this, I've got a sticky mat edge running right across my shoulder level. My knees come up with my feet, shins, knees together. This is my right side. This is my left side. My knees, both knees together, both feet, both ankles, not just toes, but ankle bones touching, knee bones together. I'm going to roll off to the side. So this rolling, if you hear me, my breath is not very disturbed because I'm spreading. And I can exhale on the way up. If you tuck tightly, you see how much I am tucking. The spreading is going on from basically the navel up. And you can inhale coming up and the exhale coming down. Keep that deepest tuck as you can. Sacrum on the floor, but hips tucking, knees together, feet alert. Bring your heels towards your buttocks, Vidya. Flex the knees, that's right. And roll. Spreading the ribs, roll the pelvis. The abdomen is being spread, first one side, then the other. Come up, change sides. don't spend too long. Inhale up, keep the tuck, get yourself centered and go the other way. Exhaling, keep the tuck. The knees may slip a bit. Once you're down, please notice and move that hip socket and pelvis and sacrum so those knees get closer together. And use, of course, the freedom in the diaphragm to let that happen and come back up. Now, is that both sides equally? Do you have another side? I wish for you to do twice each side. So please repeat, maybe not holding forever and ever, but have this experience again and see if more clues come into how to lift that chest, pressing the shoulder sockets on the floor. Can that give you more expansiveness in the chest? And come back up. And last side. And if you're done, just be there at rest. Feet on the floor, I think. Okay. And hopefully you are comfortable from that. Now, what's left is Chatushpadasana and Setu Bandha Sarvankasana. So the first one is that active opening of the anterior spine that we've been playing with back bends. Well, not too much, but lift the ribs, press the arms, go after that spaciousness. So your hands are connected to your ankles. And if you were to find a way of putting your hand completely inside your ankle, and then press a bit outward on your ankles with your hand. So the back of the hand, the fingernail side of the hand is inside that ankle. So your palms face each other. And the pinky finger side of the palm is chopping down to the floor. Palms face each other, that's it. Roll the shoulders down, move the shoulder blades in. Expand the length and breath across that middle body. Keep your throat soft, head soft. Press with the arms as you worked on chair seat to open that chest. And release, come out. And the next time you go up, put either a bolster under your spine or a brick. This is according to your comfort. So the brick raises the pelvis up, goes under the sacrum, and the shoulders roll down to the floor. For others of you, this bolster will be here, and you will keep some height underneath your heels, even if it's not too much. So if you're working with the bolster, the chest rolls down and the heels stretch out on enough support that the leg can straighten without consequences of crunchiness, lack of extension in the low back, middle back, anywhere in the trunk. And of course, those shoulders must be on the floor. And that's true if you're on a brick or a bolster, those shoulders on the floor and the legs straight, supported on something. So there can be comfort and length and breadth with the D, and breath with the prana, breath with the P. So bring the mind to bear on this pose. The early stages of yoga involve connecting yourself more and more completely, body, breath, mind. The mind is vast, the comprehension is vast. Physically, the number of neurons and synapses among them that you have is in the trillions. And each time you have a thought, a perception, one or more, anytime something registers in the mind, one or more of those synapses will fire, one of those neurons will fire and synapses will connect. Yoga is the process of increasing awareness, increasing the amount of your consciousness that's involved in noticing anything. Let your whole brain soften into this experience. Not soften into sleep, but soften into sensitivity. Let the outgoing mind penetrate into all the spaces. Let the incoming mind meet the outgoing mind. It's 5:15. Time to come out. So you can go slowly or quickly according to your schedule. Come out and lie quietly. Just be flat for a few moments if you've got the time.
fourth row. Which one?
You see them?
No, I don't know.
You see what?
We're just finishing.
So
And now
it is time.
go to the hospital.
Happy Monday.